Hi friends, Dean here with Escape to Gaming. Today is a long overdue video, and frankly one that I've been very excited about doing. I just had to kind of clear up the crap I've got going. I'm just a very hectic schedule, and I didn't want to sit and rush through this. This is a video that I really want to take my time and delve into properly, because if it wasn't for the PlayStation 1, I wouldn't be here on YouTube. I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be as hardcore of a gamer as I am or have been. Not so much lately because of, I've got this fucking disability thing that's keeping me from playing the games that I like, that I'd like to play on the PlayStation 4. I realistically can't, other than thank God for Wreckfest, something I can play for an hour and 10 minutes or so. But the PlayStation 1 has been like a godsend. This last year in particular, I've really upped my buying games for it, and I'm glad that I made the investment a couple years ago especially and bought the games I have, because I've played probably 9 or 10, I'd say I've been playing over the last, let's say 7 or 8 months in my garage, and I've had the time of my life. Thank God for the PlayStation 1 and for the PS2. I got a PS2, Twisted Metal Black playing here. That was the reason why I bought the PlayStation 2, and the first Twisted Metal I've got right here was the reason why I bought and invested in the PlayStation system. I was what would be considered a casual gamer before the PlayStation 1. I had my Super NES, I had my Commodore. I'd go through periods where I'd play games every day for a couple weeks, and then I wouldn't touch the thing for months, and I'd go back to it. If I had friends, oh, you get a Super NES? Yeah, you want to play it? We'd play for a while, have fun, and put it away. But when the PlayStation 1 came out, and I started seeing all the ads, I just met my present wife, moved in with her, we were watching MTV, Headbangers Ball, and kept seeing all the PlayStation 1 ads. I said, I gotta buy one. Not only did I buy a PlayStation 1 the first week it launched, not the first day, but within 4 days of when it came out, I bought it. Because I also got a 35-inch Hitachi Ultravision TV just to play the PlayStation 1. So for me, it was a huge investment. $729 for the first PlayStation 1, an extra controller, a memory card, and 4 games. That was a lot of money in 1995. That was a lot of money. It'd be like paying $1,500 for a console and games today. I mean, gaming PC setup started for what that cost. And then on top of that, I spent another $2,599, $2,600 for the Hitachi Ultravision. So to me, it was a huge investment. It'd be like you guys today going out and buying a $4,000, gaming PC and a big high-end 65-inch, HDR 4K TV to play the games on. That was how serious I took it. And I never looked back since. It's been one of the greatest systems I've collected for. I've had so much fun in my garage. There were a couple days where it was like 105 and I couldn't do it. I'd go out and start to play. If I went out in the morning, it was okay. But then later that loud exhaust fan would kick on. I couldn't hear myself play the games. It got hotter than hell in there, and I'd get out. But and I have to give the TV up. I'm sadly going to have to give it to someone. And it's free. Anyone in the Sacramento area want a free 27-inch Trinitron Sony TV? It's free. Come get it. It's yours with my blessings. I love the thing. But I'll get another one in Boise. You can always find a lot of older people there. They'll be still getting rid of them. And I'll look and I'll find one. Even if I have to pay for it, I'll get another one. But I love my PlayStation 1. Of all the games that I collect for it, the PlayStation 1 is probably my first love. And I'd say the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox is a real close second. So without getting too much more into the the background of it, I'm going to get right into the collection because I've got a lot of games to get into. I'll start with the first Twisted Metal. Now, many of you know I love collecting the tall boxes. To me, you had like a 3D, a real dimensional box, a nice handsome box wrapped in cellophane. At the time, you'd read the back of the box, and you were like buying an adventure for $50. $50, only $10 less than what we're paying now. Back then, that'd be like paying $120 today for a game. You guys whine about how expensive games are. We've never had it so good. I mean, right now I'm on a moratorium. I'm not buying any new games for a while, and eventually I'll get back into game collecting. I'm so close. I have a list of a few PlayStation 1 games to get still, which I'll share at the end of this, but I pretty much have most of what I want. But there's certainly more. The PS1 is really the last big series of games that I want to finish my collection for, but I've got a pretty good head start, and I'll show you that. So I started off with Twisted Metal. I got Return Fire. I think the second weekend I bought Return Fire. This one it took me a while to restore. This game I've seen going for $320 factory sealed on eBay. This is an expensive game to get now. This was a rare game. It only came out at the beginning of the 3DO and the PlayStation 1 cycle. One of my favorite games, a fantastic game, wonderful production values, and it still holds up very well today. Now, with the PlayStation 1 Classic fiasco that happened recently, a lot of people, oh, system's dated, the games are unplayable. I mean, it did show kind of a strange, eclectic view of some of the early PlayStation 1 games and the more analog tank controls, but I still like it. So anyway, these were great. Many of you, I've raved about Twisted Metal so many times. This is the game, this and the original Road Rash for the PlayStation 1 are the games I've played the most in the last 7 or 8 months. I've beaten this game so many times. It's so fun. I like to play it on the hardest level and just take on all the enemies I can. It's so much fun. I like to play with different characters. That's where the replayability value comes in, is playing as the different characters. The game itself you can beat in a couple hours, and I do. That's why I like it, because I can play half the game in one day, the next night wrap it up, and then play another. Play as, one of the other, as the big truck, or I'll play as Mr. Grimm on the bike. I mean, I like to switch them up. Spectre, Warthog, Yellow Jacket. I mean, I have so many favorites in this. Such a great game. Someone recently gave me this, and I really love this game. I've watched some reviews of it online because I didn't know what it was at the time. We didn't have YouTube back then. That's DEFCON 5, another wonderful tall box game. This game is very interesting. It's kind of a hard game. It's a little bit harder to get back into now. The controls are very awkward, but it was very ahead of its time. It was a very 3D world. There's not a lot of maps to go back for your backtracking. You can get lost very easily, as a lot of the interiors look the same, but a very cool science fiction game, spaceship kind of corridor shooter thing. Very, very cool. I'm very anxious to play this. I don't know, Steve, someone gave me this. I think Steve might have gave me this one. Williams Arcade Greatest Hits Classics, or maybe I bought this at a swap meet, I can't remember. But it has a lot of your favorite one, Baubles, Defender 2, Robotron, 2084, Defender, Joust, Sinistar. It's got some really good games in it, classics. And some of these today still hold up well. They look and play fantastic on the PlayStation 1. A lot of fun. Oh, I think this was the one Steve got me, Extreme Pinball. Yeah, he loves pinball games. He knows I like them too. Mark Bustler loves the pinball games as well. These are great games. They're great investments. And again, now this is one of the different tall boxes. It had what looks like the corrugated metal or plastic, but it actually is just printed. But these are wonderful, detailed arcade games. So very cool. The first Road Rash, I finally found a tall box of this. I mean, even though I already had it in the jewel case, the greatest hits deal, I had to have this again. Something about having this and then having, your original manual. I just love these manuals that came with these tall boxes. To me, that's what this is all about, is it's having the experience. When you first bought these games and you went through and you open this up and you read this, you're buying a $50 adventure. And you would find the fun. There was no reviews, there was no, your negative fucking trolls on the internet that don't have a life, that are shooting everything down because they can. This was back at a time where you went in and it was just you and the manager in the game store, and either he knew a little bit about the game. Hey, dude, have you played this? Well, no, but it looks good. The publisher made some other games I like, and you talk a little bit about it. You'd roll the dice and take a chance, and you'd buy it. And man, this is one of the first 4 games I bought. This did not disappoint. This today, my wife, when she hears this playing, she actually wants to play the game with me. And I'll give her the controller immediately. I said, oh, here, try it, sweetie. And I watch her play, her palms get all sweaty. She hands me the controller back. She goes, oh God, I felt like I was gonna have a heart attack. To her, the games are still fun and immersive. This is what we fell in love together, playing PlayStation 1 games. It was a big part of our early romantic involvement, sitting on the couch, and had a lot of times the game would get interrupted and one thing led to another, but it was a good time. For me, it's very nostalgic for many reasons. Again, I was 32, 33 years old when this came out. Many of you guys were like little kids. Or, oh yeah, my big brother had a PlayStation 1, my first console was a PS2, and so everyone has a different frame of reference for the PlayStation 1, and I try to respect everyone's perspective and where they came from, given their generation. But for me, this is very, very important. This game I got, I think the second week. This came out I got this with Return Fire the second week, because I kept going back every week and buying more games. I was getting paid good money back then, and every payday on Friday, you better believe I was going to go down to my electronics boutique and buy whatever games I could. I love the first Need for Speed game. It did not disappoint. Now, I know the 3DO one's supposedly better. Someday I will get a 3DO, and this will be probably one of the 4 or 5 games I'll buy for it. This and Road Rash, certainly. Both of these are supposed to play and look really good on the PlayStation. I mean, on the 3DO, and I'd like to try that. This I bought within the first month or so. It was Destruction Derby, the first one. Again, it's a smooth and printed box. Such a great game. And I have the second follow-up to this as well. This reminds me of the Wreckfest of today, and it was so impressive then. The damage modeling, the stock car style racing, which I was really into in real life, was very prevalent in this game. These are wonderful experiences. Warhawk, another game I just recently got this one back in my collection. I haven't been reunited with this since like '96 was the last time I played this. Now, sadly, back then, we didn't have the eBay to sell games. There was no GameStop trade-in, so I would just give them to friends. I'd play a game until I was kind of bored with it. This one, once you played it a few times, you've kind of been through the whole game. It was the same experience over and over again, where Twisted Metal, you could play as different characters at least. So, sadly, I got rid of this game and a lot of other ones back then. Now I regret that, certainly as a collector. But this is a wonderful game made by Single Track, who did the Twisted Metal game. Very similar sound effects and explosions, but a wonderful game. All these games I'm showing are ones that I would all recommend getting for your collection. Now again, I come from a different perspective, where the games I like were more adult type, mature type games at that time, not so much more the cutesy Mario ones, but games that I thought were cool, like this one, Total Eclipse Turbo. Again, another game I never played, but it just looks so cool. I remember seeing commercials for this on television, and I was blown away. The graphics, the 3D polygon worlds. Some of these are kind of hard to get back into today. Some of them are. It depends on where your mind is at. I'm able to kind of tune into that little kid mindset and get into the awe of 1995 or 96 all over again with many of these. These are wonderful games. This came in more of like the Sega Saturn style box, just a smooth edge. Still wonderful tall box games. Shockwave Assault. This was what I think I bought the second or third week I had my original PlayStation. This game was fantastic. Fantastic cutscenes. Had those like full motion videos. Very cool, very popular, made by Electronic Arts. Kind of a really cool spaceship shooter. I think it was very different on the 3DO. 3DO had like different backgrounds. The outdoor backgrounds were different than the space backgrounds, for the PlayStation, but very similar in many ways. Wonderful games. I can't recommend these enough. And of course, the wonderful Alien Trilogy. I played the living shit out of this. So much fun. I also have another version. I think of this in a small jewel case that I got when my neighbor passed away. I bought at his yard sale. But and I played that version before I bought this one. I got a swap meet, and maybe that Cal Expo thing we had here in Fresno. I saw Radical Reggie and Adam Korlick there, which both very nice people, by the way. I never really followed their channels too much. Radical Reggie I do still enjoy today. One of the most genuine, nicest people. I don't care what the haters love to put him down and say about him, because he's part of the Metal Jesus crew, so let's hate on him for no reason whatsoever. Because they've got Patreon. Look, I hate Patreon too, but you can still see some great videos, hidden gem videos. I've learned a lot from watching Radical Reggie. He really is a master on the PlayStation, and I tune in quite often because I like to see what he has to say. I've learned so much about games I missed back in the day from wonderful Radical Reggie. So Reggie, I know you'll never see this, but I think the world of you, dude. Keep going, keep collecting. I love watching your videos. Metal Jesus, I don't watch as much, but I do enjoy many of his, especially 6th gen videos, and and his favorites he still plays today, stuff like that. I do enjoy him quite a bit. But this is a great game. I really like this Alien Trilogy. A wonderful, wonderful game. Agile Warrior. Now this I bought, I think, the second week. The second week I went back, I got this. This to this day is one of my top 10 favorite PlayStation 1 games. A wonderful arcade style. It's something you play in an arcade. Wonderful, giant, big polygon explosions. You're fighting this bomber jet over several, I don't know if there's 10 or 12 or 20 different mission tracks, or like areas you fly down into, and you blow up oil refineries, and there's guys firing rocket launchers up, there's other jets coming at you. And it's really a very fast pace, game. As you blow things up, there's power-ups that'll float up out of them. You can immediately fly through them or you lose them. Very cool. In one of the first games, you could pull the disc out, put in your favorite King Diamond CD or whatever, and listen to, heavy metal while you're bombing the fuck out of shit. So cool. A wonderful game. Very cool. Those are my tall box games. I certainly wish I had a lot more of those, but I'm so thankful to have those. Each of those, I just look at those and hold them and open them up and go through the manuals, and it just brings back a flood of good memories from the old days of what sold me on gaming to the degree that I'm in on gaming now. So important. Quickly, I'll get right back into the racing games. I got quite a few of here. Need for Speed 2. You better believe I bought this the day it came out, and it didn't disappoint. More of the same, but more refined and better. Better handling, a little bit more fluid, great music, great electronic music. I love it. Need for Speed 2, very good. Need for Speed 3, Hot Pursuit. This was an incredible game. My God, my friend Chris would come over and we'd just take turns playing the living shit out of this. So much fun. So good with the cops and spike strips and helicopters. The music, the menus were just perfected. I mean, this is back when Electronic Arts really made wonderful games. Wonderful games. This is one of my absolute favorites. It still is fun today. I've had a blast playing this the last 7 or 8 months. So fun. Need for Speed, this is one I need to play. I haven't put it in yet to play it, but I like this one immediately after Hot Pursuit. I got high stakes. I love the artwork. I love the box with the Ferrari and the Porsche. Risk it all to win, and you better believe you did. It was so good. The racing was just getting more and more perfected, more fluid, great tracks, cops, good racing action, good lighting effects for back then. And for a PlayStation 1 games, these are must-get games, very good games. Porsche Unleashed, I finally bought this. I still have never played it to this day, but I had to get, this was the last Need for Speed game that you could play offline that I invested in. The 2015 one I don't count. It doesn't exist for me. But this was the last physical game I can put in and still play today, and I had to have this. I'm not a big Porsche person, I'm more of a Corvette guy. But I had to have it, and I do like Porsches. I mean, they are for my friend to drive. In fact, my brother-in-law has, well, not hit this. He had a C4 one that was an all-wheel drive, Carrera-style convertible. But this is the Porsche Challenge. This is a great game. Now, I put a little red flag on this. This I need to resurface a disc. If you see any little tabs on there like this, I put these post-it notes. That means it's a disc that needs to be resurfaced. Very few of my discs need that, but I've gone through every one, and if they look like there were a little too many scratches, I put a post-it note and I'll have it resurfaced. I got this one real cheap for like $1 something, so I can't complain. A really good game. You actually play as different characters. Each one has their own attributes driving the same car, but a great racing game. Very good. And this was like a tech demo. I wanted to show people how good the PlayStation looked back then. It wasn't called a PS1 back then, by the way. It was just the PlayStation. That's it. It was like, you never thought there'd be a sequel to it. It was like an incredible console. You never thought there'd be a PS2. It just was. You just, oh, you have a PlayStation? Cool. Tokyo Highway Battle. My good friend Jeremy's been playing this and has really been enjoying it. I've yet to even put it in to try the opening to see it, believe it or not, but I've been playing the Import Tuner Challenge on the Xbox 360, which is from the same series. But this is the one that started it all. There's only a couple little screenshots in the back here. But a wonderful game. You just get entranced in driving on the Tokyo freeways at night. Very cool. What can I say? Gran Turismo 2. And I don't even have the first one because 2 really is like a greatest hits version of the first one with more tracks and cars. You really get everything you need in this. This is an iconic game. It was like before there was Forza, there was Gran Turismo. This was the most, for a real car guy like me, that likes to go in and set the camera up on his cars. I always put at least a 1/2 degree to 3/4 degree negative camera in the front of my cars for road racing. I like to play with the the end links on my sway bars and stiffen them up, or play when put in bigger, stiffer rear sway bars to induce more oversteer. You could do all that in this game, and you could see the effects of it. It's so cool. This is if you bought 10 games for the PlayStation 1, do yourself a favor and get this one, and it still holds up today. It's that good. Driver. But long before I played GTA, this was the first open world game that I played, was Driver. And I've got Driver 2 as well. Both of these are fantastic games. I was in a head-on fatality accident with the other drunk driver. The kid that hit me died head on at 70. I was doing 75, he was doing 70. It was a bloodbath accident. I was in and out of a hospital for 5 months, and I had to live at my mother-in-law's for 5 months because the hospital was right down the street, so I could quickly just go there without driving too far to get to the hospital. That's part of the reason why I'm in the situation I'm in today, was from that accident. It did a lot of advanced trauma to my spine and to my back, to my neck and to my back. But both of these games got me through it. I mean, of all things to play after being in a horrible car accident, but they were so immersive. And I've beaten these games several times all the way through. I love these games. I love them. And I love Driver 3 for the 6th Gen 2, as bad as it's gotten reviews for. I love the whole, in Parallel Lines, I love the whole series. Test Drive 4, later on they started getting into kind of like a Gran Turismo, but more arcadey. And kind of like a Need for Speed game, but that was called Test Drive. Now, I played all the original Test Drives and California Challenge and all that in the C64, so I was thrilled to see the series continue with the same logo, the same kind of look and feel. We can see the dash and the speedometers and stuff, and they had a lot of that with these early games, but they introduced the muscle cars. The Dodge Viper at the time, the first American car to have 400 horsepower. So because of that, I had to get this game. And I had my old Corvette, my 72 Corvette. There was like the ZL1, the 69 version of that same vet was in here. So good. And Test Drive 5 I bought. Test Drive 6 I bought and played. I love all of these games. I would highly recommend you get these for your collection if you're into racing games. They're still fun today. They're very hard though. They're tough. But at least you can memorize the traffic patterns, which helps. Test Drive Off-Road 3. This is the only one I have. I'm missing 1 and 2, but still good. This is kind of the best one of the 3. You really have the best of all worlds, a little bit more refined vehicles, and great off-roading within the Test Drive series. A wonderful series. This was one of my favorites. Very tough, but very fun, and I found a perfect copy of this, real cheap, hardcore 4x4. I love the announcer's voice. Was like a TNN sportscaster. I recognize his voice from cable TV at the time. Very fun, very challenging, a really fun game. Some of these are a little dated to kind of go back into play today, but I still find them very fun and get lost in them the same way I did back then. Rallycross, a wonderful game. Sadly, I got to refinish the disc on this one as well, but wonderful little graphics on the back. It was such a blast to drive these little cars and bounce them around. This disc actually plays fine. I have put this in and played it. It just has too many scratches for my taste, so I'm going to have it resurfaced. So fun. I highly recommend Rallycross. A blast. It was the first driving game to have mud physics, where mud would accumulate on the car and spin off the wheels. Very cool. Rallycross 2, another wonderful masterpiece. More of the same. A little bit different graphics. A little bit better in some respects. Still very fun. Destruction Derby 2, eventually this came out. Even better. This is a must. Even if you don't find the first one, get the second one. It's really more of the same, but better and refined. Kind of like our greatest hits of the first Destruction Derby. So good. Wonderful music. Great damage modeling. An absolute blast. You've got Ridge Racer Type 4. What can I say? One of the best. You can play it at one disc at 60 frames a second, or you can play the original 30 frames per second version. More cars, more of everything. Ridge Racer, in fact, I want the original tall box that I used to have of the very first Ridge Racer. I love it so much. Such an iconic game. Another series, it kind of defies real life physics, the way the cars handle. The drifting's like way over the top, but very cool. Ridge Racer Revolution, I believe this is kind of like Ridge Racer 2. Another fantastic game. I played hundreds of hours in the Ridge Racer series on the PS1, hundreds of hours. I could play just weekend after weekend. My friend Chris would come over. His friends James would come over, and we'd take turns playing this. So much fun. And then my favorite was Rage Racer. Kind of like a perfected, the champagne of the Ridge Racer series, if you will. Really good, great graphics, even more cars, even had this really cool hot rod truck with like a blower. And the sound of the cars and the fluid speed you'd get out of this, and the tracks were even perfected more in this. This is my favorite in the Ridge Racer PlayStation series. So good. San Francisco Rush, I think this N64 version is probably a little better in many respects, but I still like it on the PlayStation 1. Still a fun game. Your typical, arcade sit-down arcade racing game. It's got some kind of wonky physics and stuff, but still it's a fun game. I had to have this one. Burning Road. Burning Road. You'd have this English woman that would do the narration over the beginning menus of this. I'd laugh every time I heard this. Mark Bustler likes this one too, from Classic Game Room. It's just an absolute treat. Really crude graphics, but this is like a sit-down arcade racing game. You play it in an arcade. Going into an arcade at night. I love this so much. It's just, I was so thrilled to find this crappy game to have in my collection. It's one of those kind of shitty arcade games, but it works. It's so fluid. It's like a major drifting, kind of like a Ridge Racer on roids. Very fun though. I love this game. So cool. 007 Racing, not the greatest 007 game, but cool. You get to play some of the 007 cars, and it's like kind of a, point A to point B, a little simple checkpoint things you have to do, but still fun. Powerboat Racing, I've never played this one, to be honest with you, but it looked good. I had one in the C64 that was a powerboat racing game I really liked. It reminded me of that, so I had to get it. Sled Storm, this is a game I absolutely love. This is so good. I'd highly recommend this. Kind of like a snowboarding, kind of an SSX game, but with snowboards. Very cool. Very, very cool. Quickly getting on to more here. I've got, let me get these now open. My back is doped up on my pain meds, so I can do this. I've got a lot of games to get through. My friend Jeremy just sent me this game. I think I showed this in a pickups video. Planet of the Apes. It's more of a sci-fi game. I love the Planet of the Apes series. I'm so thrilled to have this. Jeremy, thank you so much. I've yet to put this in to play it, but it is hot on my list to sit down and to try to get through this. I would love to play this adventure. I'm so happy to have it in my collection. The original Asteroids. It's kind of like a reboot of Asteroids, but very cool. Really good music. Just a fun game. I grew up with the original Asteroids. It's one of my top probably 3 or 4 favorite arcade games of all time. Kind of the very simplistic graphics, kind of like the Vectrex. So it was kind of those line type, laser type graphics, but a very iconic game. This is kind of a reboot of it, but the same vibe and feeling of it, but very cool. Gex, what can I say? I think this might have been in a tall box initially. I know it was on the 3DO as well. One of my favorite arcade games. I never really was into the ghouls and ghosts and a lot of the other Genesis type games. For some reason, Gex won me over. It was just kind of the fun little laid-back attitude of a little gecko lizard deal. I don't know what it is. It's just a great game. There's more games in the series I certainly would like to get. I'd highly recommend Gex. So fun and beautiful graphics. Just a delight to play. Scooby-Doo. Now, I bought this for my sister. I'm sorry, not my sister. I actually bought it for my daughter, Paula, and loved watching her play this. I bought her all of these Scooby-Doo games for the PlayStation 2 as well as for the PlayStation 1. And I just got it because it reminded me of the good times in my daughter's room playing video games on her PlayStation. When I got the PS2, I gave her my PS1 until eventually I got her own PS2. And I loved to play those games. Those early Ratchet and Clank games, all of those, Spyro, the Dragon, all those games I never really was into myself, but I got them for her. And eventually I'd like to get those games back just because they bring back wonderful memories of bonding with my daughter playing video games. One of my favorite series on the Genesis, the Strike series. This was, I bet I've got probably 60 to 80 hours in this game originally, on my first version of this on the PlayStation 1. I played the shit out of this, every fucking mission. I love the top-down little graphics, a little helicopter picking up your guys, flipping around, blowing, road convoys up, and road checkpoints, and barriers and buildings. It's just such a great game. Nuclear Strike, more of the same. Very cool. These are you have to get the Strike series games. These are really very affordable too. You can get them probably for $3 a piece. For the love of God, get these games. They're so good. Really good games. Here's my original Return Fire. I kind of cut the manual down and made my own box. And Mark Bustler, this was in his collection. This is the only game I asked for back, because the only one I could find on eBay was like $329 or something. It's outrageous. And I said, God, I want to pay $300 to get my favorite game back. And I kind of sheepishly asked him, Mark, I hate to ask, I'm like an Indian giver. You think I could have that just one game back? Because initially I was supposed to loan these games to Classic Game Room, and they were going to send them back after they were reviewed, but then they changed that policy. He said, well, we don't do that anymore. We're going to keep them. Is it okay if we keep them? And I go, all right, go ahead and keep them. Fuck it, I just wanted to see them reviewed, so I never got them back. But I did ask for this one back, and I'm glad I did. Later, I found, thanks to my friend Steve Baker, he said, hey dude, I found you the original box, it's missing the disc. So I bought the box, I bought the manual separately, and eventually I bought it all back in its complete original packaging, but I still have the old, disc thing that I made. Because at the time, I just threw the tall boxes out. I wanted them all to fit in my CD rack. I had like a 60, it would hold like 60 discs, and I had all my games. I wanted them all the same size, Now I regret that, obviously. Final Doom, this one I would like to get the original. My next door neighbor died. I bought this off him for like $1. This is my favorite Doom of all the Dooms. It's just like it's like more gore, more violence. This is my favorite version, and I want to find it with it has kind of an embossed box, really cool. I'd like to find the original box for that very cool game. Dino Crisis, again, these are a series of all these games I bought next door. They're missing the manuals and the boxes, but I still have them. Mech Warrior 2, another Alien trilogy. This was the first one I bought before I found the complete one in the box. Shockwave Assault, which I've also found it and bought it in the box again. But I'm just happy to have these as backups. And eventually I'll find the Dino Crisis and all the other ones. The First Mist, I've mentioned many times, a literal religious experience. I can't recommend Myst enough. It's so good. I beat this without any cheats, without any help. Mark Bussler couldn't even beat it without going online and getting ideas. And I beat this twice, all the way through. Revan, my dad had. I got him so hooked on, he got a PS1 just to play this, and then he played Myst, and he couldn't beat it. He had to cheat. I think he bought a strategy guide so he could beat it. I would refuse. I wouldn't do it. But I would like to see if I can beat this without a strategy guide or without looking online. This is a must-play game. More of the same. This is probably gaming at its... For this type of a game, point-and-click adventure, puzzle games, these are the pinnacle. It was literally... I felt like it was almost a religious experience. It was so magical. And I got lost in that world that they wrote and created about those two brothers. Such an impressive game. I even have it on the PlayStation 3. I bought it digitally just because I could. I even bought it again off Steam to have on my PC for my old Windows XP, which I no longer have, but just a great game. This I bought at the Cal Expo thing I went with Steve Baker not long ago, last year, about a year ago. Future Cop LAPD. I've always wanted to play this. I still have not put it in and even try it yet. A really cool mech game. Very cool. One of the coolest games I missed back in the day. I'd highly recommend it. And a similar game called G-Police. I had to get this as well. These were really great graphics. These were games, my God, if I had discovered these back then, I would have played the shit out of these. Wonderful, kind of dark adventures, kind of at nighttime with a mech in the streets. And the drive distance is kind of weak, as you go from one area to the next. But very cool. Still very cool, very atmospheric. I got the follow-up to G-Police 2, Weapons of Justice. Another great game. Again, these three games I have not played, but I'm very anxious to play these. I was so thrilled to find these for my collection because I would like to get through them and play them. This is one I love. My God, 100 hours, maybe 80, 100 hours I had of this. Wing Commander 4, so good. Mark Hamill reprising, his role in this. And now I had the Wing Commander, I think it was just called Wing Commander for the Super NES, and I love, that was the reason why I bought my Super NES. It's another iconic game on multiple discs, wonderful full motion cutscenes, a real adventure, a great game. Some people don't think it holds up that great today, but I love this game so much. There's more of these I want to get, more in this series I definitely want to get. Rebel Assault 2, another one. My God, I played the shit out of this when it came out. I couldn't believe you could play a game in the Star Wars universe aside from Super Star Wars, which I really do love. But this was more like you were really in a Star Wars mission adventure thing. It's so good. And it's still, to me, I like it today. It still holds up. Now this, ironically, I bought digitally for the PlayStation 3 because I couldn't find the fucking thing. I looked everywhere. And then Steve, my friend Steve said, oh, Dean, have you seen Fair Game? In Fair Oaks over here, they sell retro games. I found there, and that's where I found a copy. I paid probably more for it than I should have, but I had to have it. This was the game in the first in the series of the dark the Jedi Knight series. The Jedi Knight 2, the second one, unfortunately, is a PC only game, so I'll never know what that's like. but it's still very cool. This I've played the digital version on the PlayStation 3. Very, very cool. I didn't finish it. I got maybe a third of the way into it and I got stuck. Very fun. It's still, this is like a Doom, but with Star Wars. Very cool. In the early 3D, graphic days. Very, very cool. This one I've never played, but it looks good. The Phantom Menace. The graphics to me look really fun. Little top-down graphics. Real fun little kind of sword laser combat. It looks like a fun game. I love Star Wars. I want to get every Star Wars game that's made. So again, Grand Theft Auto, the Grand Theft Auto trilogy comes with Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 and the London missions. I got all 3 of those. I'm so happy to have this in my collection. And believe it or not, I never played them. Not until Grand Theft Auto 3 that I tried this series. I just didn't know. Looked at Grand Theft Auto, what's this, Oh, a little top-down thing. That's something I looked at it, and if it probably had more captivating looking artwork on the box, I would have bought it, but for whatever reason, I just never bought it. Getting into my last stack here, Road Rash, again, this is I still have, just to have, and it's nice having a backup version. So I got the variant, the tall box, and the regular box of this. Such a great game. God, I love this so much, Road Rash. Road Rash 3D. A lot of people aren't as crazy about it. They prefer this one. But believe it or not, I embrace this. This had really cool 3D graphics like you could not believe. It really was very different and advanced. The music was good. It was really the first open world game where you could connect the dots. I even froze my screen, got a piece of tracing paper and drew the map that was in the menu that showed the complete map, and then studied the map so I could see how all the dots connect. And I would write on, oh, this is where that part of the city of San Francisco is. Here's the part that looks like Napa. And I would actually use the map so I understood where everything was, and then I could just do free roam and go everywhere. Very good game. I put up probably, again, another 70 to 100 hours in this. This, I played the living shit out of. I've beaten it upside down and sideways, so good. The one I haven't beaten that I finally found with Steve Baker out in San Jose was a Road Rash jailbreak. I was so thrilled to find this. I think this is when I had the disc taken out and polished, where it's like new again. Another game very similar to the Road Rash 3D kind of graphics. There's an N64 game I'd like to get to in the Road Rash series. It looks really cool. Twisted Metal 2. What can I say? Many consider this the best Twisted Metal. I do like it quite a bit. To me, the first one is the best, to me, personally, because it has so much impact. Only because of the nostalgia and the first-person view, which none of the others, sadly, ever had again. But the first person, once you master the tracks and the cars, I would play it exclusively in the first-person mode, and man, it was immersive times 10. It was so realistic. It was almost like playing a virtual reality today. That's how I viewed it then. But Twisted Metal 2, so many tracks, wonderful split screen for fucking days on end. I played this with like 3 or 4 friends over and over and over. This one I played in the last 7 months, quite a bit. I played maybe 5 of my favorite tracks that I play the same tracks, Hong Kong, some of the ones I just play over and over and over because I know them so well. Some of the lava tracks in the Amazon I didn't really care for as much, but still, it's fun. One of these days I'd like to go through all of the actual missions in that game again. Twisted Metal 3 I bought the day it came out, did not like it. Gave it away like 2 days later, so gave it for here, dude, Chris, take it. Oh, really, dude, thanks. I did like the Rob Zombie music. Some of the music was okay. It just was a real step down graphically. But you know what's funny is that some people, they never played the first 2, but they played the opening opening game that they played in the series was either Twisted Metal 3 or 4, and they loved them. You know, so I don't want to take anything away from that. Look, if you like these games and you grew up playing these before the other ones, and you like them, more power to you. I just couldn't get into them, but I had to have them back, and I want to give them a chance now. Same with Twisted Metal 4. They look cool, you know, they got great music. There's still good, fun retro reviews you can watch in all 4 of the games that are well worth watching. Check them out. You might like them. Road Trip. Now, this was done by the Twisted Metal developer that did Twisted Metal. They did Twisted Metal 1 and 2. Did Road Trip because they had a problem. They split up with Sony. Something happened, and there was like an unfortunate bad taste in everyone's mouth. So they went off and did their own thing. So they came up with kind of like a Twisted Metal where you're like a mercenary taking tourists in the future in a post-apocalyptic world on little touring drives and with shit blowing up and everyone's trying to steal the tourist. And it's a crazy concept, but So cool. It's great characters. Each car has its own unique weapons. Very, very cool. Such a neat game. Vigilante 8. I want to get the second one, the second offense, or whatever it's called. I don't have that one. I did have it. I need to get it back. Another series. Just the opening little cinematic for this, I would play to my dad, come over like a tech demo, because I was like, oh, look at the graphics on this. And everyone was blown away with how good the little... Today it's kind of a joke looking back on it, but it was so advanced for back then. A wonderful game. Vigilante 8 is so good. I even have the arcade version for the Xbox 360 I bought as well. I just need to get the second one back in my collection. Such a great series. The Wrecking Crew, kind of another car combat, somewhat kind of Twisted Metal type game, kind of cartoony, but fun. This I did put in play for a little bit just to test it out. It looks fun. This is one I'd like to go through all the way through and just give it a shot. Critical Death. Wow. This is one of my favorite, very immersive Twisted Metal developer, kind of like Twisted Metal underwater with little mini submarines, little James Bond type sub deals. Very, very cool. Wonderful music, beautiful menus, very immersive. You get down too deep, your hull will get crushed. There'd be some power-ups you'd have to like dive real deep and quickly get them and get quickly back up. And they'd be really hidden down in deep little twisting caverns. You can get turned around real easy in this game and kind of lose your bearings. Very, very cool game. I have put some serious time into this. This is one of my top 10 PlayStation 1 games. You can get it cheap. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because people don't like it or they made just a billion other things. I don't know. Very affordable, but very cool. Do not pass up Critical Depth. A wonderful PlayStation 1 game. Jet Moto. Wow. Dick Dale surf music from the fucking 60s. Very cool. It was like it just hit on all cylinders. The music, the menus, the types of tracks, racing in the Antarctica, racing in the ocean like off Maui. I mean, it captured kind of like a jet ski, snowmobile, gravity type, hovercraft thing. I don't know how you'd really describe it, but very cool, very futuristic, and very addictive. And let me tell you, this is fucking tough. Tough as nails. Tough as nails. Twisted Metal, Jet Moto 2, more of the same, even tougher. This is tougher than a fucking cheap steak right here. Really a tough game, even better tracks, cooler tracks, more challenging tracks, great music. These are you've got to get these games in your collection. They are so good, you will not be disappointed. They're still fun today, thank God. Now I haven't played too much of the second one. I've only been playing the first one the last 7 months. I've put this one in quite a few times, and I've been slowly trying to replay. I forgot, I'm getting my ass handed to me in this. I forgot how fucking hard it was. I can't believe I used to beat all these tracks and come in first place. I don't know how I did it. But back then, I was obsessed. I would just say, okay, this is it. Just me and Jet Moto for the next 2 weeks and roll my sleeves up. And back then, I'd have just a few games, 7 or 8 games at a time. I'd play them, get tired of them, give them to someone, whatever, and then just buy the next batch and just play them until I was done and bored and get on with the next ones. And I don't do that anymore. I hang on to them now, in hindsight. What are you going to do? Jet Moto 3, I haven't played, but I had to get it. It's actually more vibrant and colorful than the other ones. It's made by this 899 or 989 studios that did the Twisted Metal 3 and 4. I think they did a better job at Jet Moto 3 than they did Twisted Metal 3 and 4. It's not bad. The same kind of physics and everything. It holds up a little bit better, I think, than Twisted Metal 3 and 4, but very, very cool. I would get this one as well. I just don't have a lot of experience on it. Siphon Filter, I played an early demo. I had like a PlayStation demo disc that I played this and my mouth just hit the floor. There was a snow level at night with snow falling, and the atmosphere and the immersion I felt early on in an action game I got from the first Siphon Filter. Since then, I've been trying to get more of them. I've got all the PlayStation 2 variants now and the PSP one that's on the PlayStation 2. I've got Siphon Filter 2 as well. Both of these I played the shit out of. Siphon Filter 3 I never played. I shamefully never played this, but I do want to play this. I want to go through and play all of these all the way through from the beginning again. Again, it's tough. Not everyone can go back. Again, I don't, like my friend Silverwings21, he hates it when I use the word dated. To him, a video game is good in 1996. It's just as good now, and I agree with him. I agree with you. You're 100% right. But I'm just saying, for some people would find them dated or hard to kind of delve back into. I don't personally. I can get into them and have just as much fun and immersion, and I can see it through the lenses. Again, there was nothing better. It's not like today where you can go back and you've got the PlayStation 4 Pro and you got these wonderful systems with graphics so good. Back then, this was as good as it got. You were playing a PlayStation 4 Pro when you played these. So you got to kind of see it through that perspective. A lot of people in retro gaming, they collect them to collect them. Oh, it's cool to collect old video games. They never play them. It's just cool to be a collector. I bought every one of these games to re-experience and fall in love with them again and again. That's why I bought these games. I wanted to connect to a part of my past that made me fall in love with gaming, and the PlayStation 1 did that. It sold me on gaming to this day. Loaded, another wonderful gory game. There's another one called Reloaded I'd like to get that one. This was kind of a little top-down, very violent, gory. I mean, you shoot someone, just blood splatter, just enormous blood splatter, just fills a room or a wall. It's over the top. Very cool, great music, great eerie lighting and moody graphics. Very cool. These are great games. It's hard to even put into words the fun you could have, the immersion. You could have spent a whole weekend on a game like this and have an absolute blast. Absolute blast. Medal of Honor, the first one I played. Medal of Honor Underground, I never did play. This was an iconic game. Now, I had a hard time with the first-person view. I don't know what it was. I played this early on, as well as some of the Doom games, and I did not care for it. It almost made me nauseous. I didn't like being up so close and personal. Later, with Red Faction, mostly Red Faction, and then I would say like the Wolfenstein Return to Castle, those two games changed my viewpoint to where now I love first-person shooters. I love them more than anything now. I was a third-person shooter, so I had a hard time getting into this. I don't even know that I ever finished it, to be honest with you, but I did like it. I like what Steven Spielberg was trying to do, capturing a real World War II feel. I did enjoy it. I would enjoy it actually more now, and I certainly would enjoy Medal of Honor Underground. This is another one I'm going to resurface a disc. But, you know, a fantastic series, wonderful series. It really is. I'm so happy to have these in my collection. Wonderful games. That, you know, again, now that I like FPS games, I'd like to go back and see the roots of them. I would appreciate them more now. Die Hard Trilogy. I had a chance to get the Die Hard Trilogy too, and I missed the boat. It was at my place, my little Fair Oaks place over here, and then I went back to get it and it was gone. The guy said, "Oh, dude, you should buy the second one too. I'll give you a deal on both of them." Well, I just want the first one. I like the first one. I'd never played the second one. Now I regret it. I'll get another one. I'll get it on eBay or something. A great game. What can I say? You play the Die Hard, all three movies, the first three, Die Hard with a Vengeance and Die Harder. You play all of them. Each one's a little different, the way that the gameplay is, but they're really cool. These are fun games, great movie license tie-in games you can have an absolute fucking ball with. X-Files. This was a fun game. This one, my wife and I were really into the X-Files. I have every single DVD, all seasons and the two movies and everything on DVD. This was a wonderful game. I'm so thrilled to have this back in my collection. There's another one I want to get. I don't know if it's for the PS1 or maybe it's for the PS2. Resist or Serve. I can't remember what the name of it is, which I would like to get as well. But I love the X-Files, and this didn't disappoint. It's so good. Alien Resurrection is one of the few Alien games that I beat. I don't think I beat Alien Trilogy. I think I came close to it, but I did beat this. This is supposedly the harder game. I really like this. To me, it's even more atmospheric. It's a little bit more realistic. It just had the eeriness in it. It's just, there's parts of it that are kind of challenging. I could see myself rage quitting this today, where back then I was obsessed with beating it, and I beat it. This game I like. This is a game where I actually hooked up my VCR to the game because I kept dying in parts to see what I was doing wrong, and I would record it. I'd run the three RCA cables into the VCR, and then from the VCR to the TV, so I could still play the game, but I was recording footage, kind of like early PVR footage back in the day before they had Elgatos and, you know, Hapage HD PVRs and all that shit. And I would record and I'd study what I was doing. I could pause it, go in slow motion, like, oh, that's it, that's where he's coming from, you know, and I'd see why I was dying, and it helped me beat the game. That was kind of my genius back then. And I'll save the best for last, and that's my favorite PlayStation 1 game. You guys already know this. Duke Nukem Time to Kill. I love this. I got this from my friend Silverwings21.
he beat it like it was nothing, naturally. But I had a ball watching him beat it. He played it differently than I did, but I still really enjoyed his playthrough of it. You want to see a fun playthrough of it, watch his playthrough of Duke Nukem Time to Kill. So good. In fact, I'll have a link for it down below. So good. I love this game so much. This was the game, even before Duke Nukem 3D, I played this. Later, I played the Duke Nukem Total Meltdown, which was the kind of the 3D, Duke Nukem 3D version on the PlayStation 4, which I don't have. I thought I had it. I think I had it, and I gave it to Classic Gamer. I need to buy that one back. I would like to get that one back. And eventually, I want to get the N64 ones as well. But my God, I love this game so much. My wife even got me the strategy guide, which is so cool to have with this. I love this game. I love the challenge modes. I love the two-player split screen. This is my favorite PlayStation 1 game. I would pay $100 for this in a heartbeat if it was the only way I had to get it. And the follow-up I like almost as much, with even better music, from Static X. In fact, my cousin is good friend, or was good friends with Wayne Static, who sadly died of a drug overdose. And then this poor girlfriend killed herself a year and a half later, sadly. Terror, which I felt bad. But my cousin would party with him and would send me phone pics, texts. Oh, here, I'm here with your buddy Wayne Static. We're smoking weed and hanging out and listening to music. And I go, oh, cool, dude. Have fun, but be careful. That guy's like goes overboard with the drugs. But anyway, he did the music for this from Static X. I have all the Static X CDs. I'm a huge fan. And maybe that was part of what sold me. The music, the production values of the opening cinematics, and this is really good. Of course, the Babes doesn't hurt. You know, my wife would come in the room, oh God, you're playing Land of the Babes, and she'd roll her eyes. Of course, my wife looks like one of the women that's in this with a big chest and all that. But I love these games. To me, this is the epitome of when games were cool before the political correct bullshit ruined gaming. And I'm just going to call it what it is. It literally has ruined gaming today. We will never see cool games like this. So you want to have fun, guys? Start collecting retro games and go back to a time where gaming was more fun and pure. There wasn't all this bullshit and hatred and trolling and negativity that has permeated and frankly ruined the gaming hobby we're in today with so much toxicity. And now I'm going to save that for another rant coming up soon here. But this was back when games were fun. And to me, these games were made for me. I mean, just absolutely made for me. I love gaming so much. The PlayStation 1 is so iconic. It's just so filled with so many great memories of good times. And it's so wonderful. I can still play them today. I hope to God that the PlayStation 5 has the backwards compatibility that I've been hearing about. I don't know if they'll have PlayStation 1 games. Maybe we can buy some of them digitally. I don't know. I hope to God it does, because as I get older, I see the value in having these games. I see the value in returning to these games. And in my rough state that I'm in right now with my back pain, I'm already like climbing the walls right now in pain. I can play these games. And I can enjoy these games, but I'm having a hard time to play these, 30, 60-hour Assassin's Creed Odysseys, as beautiful and wonderful as you are. That's what part of the torture is for me right now, is I can't play my Rage 2. I can't do it. If I do it, I will fuck myself. So I just put it aside. And the day will come where I'll have the surgery or I'll get the help that I need, and I'll be able to slowly return to those kind of games again. But until then, thank God for my PlayStation 1 collection. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be having my original Xbox collection up pretty soon. That'll be the last of my collection videos for some time until I move. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy your game collecting and your gaming in general, guys, because that's what this is all about. Have fun with it, relish in it, and savor it, and stay positive. Keep to the positive of the hobby, because it's a hobby that keeps giving back. It's meant so much to me, and so have you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.